This is part 3 of design thinking. So the first stage of the design process thinking is defining the problem. So what you want to do is create a list of objectives to break down a large problem into smaller problems. So, when you're a student and you're trying to come up with ideas, you want to look at the rubric, and that is sort of your list of objectives of what you need to do to solve the problem. So you're going to state the problem in the most basic terms. So in designing the problem and parameters, you have to take into account the needs of the intended audience, time constraints, perceived limitations, and of course, budgets. Step 2 of the design process is what we call deep research. You have to deeply understand the customer and user needs. Not only the use of it, but the usability and what does it mean to them. You have to understand why, the why underneath all those needs. What's the context? What is the full customer experience? What are the market trends and industry orthodoxies? These are very important things to find out before you start to design something. And the more research you do, the more ideas that you're going to have. Okay, so in step 3, you're going to develop some preliminary ideas. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a lot of sketching and thinking, and you do not apply judgment to any ideas at this stage. You want to just brainstorm and come up with every idea that you can. And sometimes you have to go way out there and suggest even impossible solutions to get to the right answer or the right idea. Remember when you were 9 years old and you were so creative and you were just so curious about everything? That's what you need to kind of be like when you're a designer. You have to tap into that inner 9-year-old. You have to ask why and why not. And not judge your ideas and not let other people stifle your creativity. Remember that even a professor's work in judgment of student work is somewhat subjective, although we create objectives that we try to meet in our grading rubrics, and that's what gives it the solution. However, there is something to going beyond the rubric and the objectives to make it transcendent, to make people really be interested in it. So how do we come up with ideas? Well, the best way is to sketch, to make little sketches that are quick, not drawings, but just little sketches that create a roadmap of your idea. And there's nothing more important and more powerful in learning than the interrelationship between your brain, your hand, and your mind. So when you're thinking, you do a little sketch and it's fuzzy, and you have to keep it fuzzy so the brain looks at it and imagines another iteration that's clearer. And that's a quote by Milton Glaser, who understands ideation quite well. So here are a few of the techniques that we use. We use brainstorming, which is just in a group with a group of people, just brainstorming a lot of ideas and putting them up on a board. There's fuzzy sketching, which you do by yourself, where you make little fuzzy sketches that aren't very clear. And the more sketching you do, the more ideas that you're going to have, and the more ideas that are going to spring from the thumbnail sketching. You can make lists. You can mind map. You can use a technique called TRIZ. Doodling is great. Sometimes if I'm stuck on an idea, I'll just start with a doodle. I'll play with the alphabet, rhyming and creating words about the problem I'm trying to solve. There's prototyping, which is 3D model making, and of course tinkering. This is the first example, which is brainstorming. I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to follow up with part 4.